I'm going to be the one moving over. So then I think it's easier
for the flow.
For the flow. Makes a difference. Last week we were in Germany, also on a live surgery, and it was. I think we don't have to. We cannot talk too much, right? Okay.
So whatever the last 2 minutes.
Okay.
Here we are. Let's see how many people are there.
All right. Cool. I was saying last week in Germany we had like a proper film team there, like huge cameras and like 3 or 4 of them, and now it's just a mobile phone basically where you have to look at, right? It's a bit more low limit.
Enough people. Okay, so good to go.
Yeah, good to go.
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to day 3 of Art of Health. Thank you for joining. So this is Andres Valdivia from RoboticScope. I have with me Ferdinand from BHS Technologies. So let me explain what's the reason for us to be here. Today we're going to have the opportunity to share with you a little bit about this technology that we have behind us. So this is a RoboticScope manufactured by BHS. So actually we're going to have the chance to hear from Ferdinand directly a little bit about the story and what's the reason behind the development of this kind of technology. So please, Ferdinand.
Thank you, Andres. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having the RoboticScope. It's great to be here. I just wanted to quickly loop you in on our first ideas when we started the company in 2017, and also into the vision that we want to put into practice going forward. So when we were visiting ORs back in the days, seeing traditional microscopes in the OR, we always had the feeling that surgeons needed to adapt too much to the microscope than it was actually the other way around, right? So we came out with this idea of detaching the surgeon from the microscope, right? In order to give him or her more ergonomic freedom and also tackle the problem of a workflow, right? Because we realized that the surgeon himself or herself always has to interrupt his or her procedures in order to change the perspective, right? Because you need to use your hands, which you would regularly use for your performance, in order to change the perspective. So all traditional microscopes have joysticks, right? They all have eyepieces. What we have, and you will go into the specifications in a second, is a headset, right? So all the movements, all the changes of perspective will happen with your head gestures, and also the picture that you will get from the microscopic camera will be placed on the oculars, on the eyepieces, on your headset. So we just realized that we needed to change something, and we need to put some specific components together in order to make this work, right? So one component, of course, is a high-resolution cameras, basically 2 of them, in order to get a 3-dimensional picture. Then we attach this camera to a robotic arm, and also put it onto a base unit, which allows the system to stand somewhere in the OR in order to give the visualization some space. And before I go into the specifics, or rather hand over to you, Andres, just a quick outlook on what the future might bring and on what we're already working on, which is an enhanced visualization combined with augmented and mixed reality, right? As we work on a fully digital system, we do have the opportunity to add in additional data, additional information that might be useful for the surgeon during the procedure, right? So we envision this whole visualization of microsurgery in the form of a cockpit, right? Just imagine you would be the pilot, the surgeon, sitting in an airplane in the cockpit. Of course, the most important view that you want to have is basically the view out of your front windshield, in order to see what's encountering you, what is happening. But additional to that, there's some more information, right? It's like navigation, speed, height, and so on, that you might be interested in seeing at a certain point of time, right? And that's what we want to do with the headset as well. So this headset is supposed to be the cockpit in the OR for the most important persons in the OR, namely surgeon plus assistant, who need to access all the information they need during the procedure. Of course, first of all, the surgical field of view, but then additional to that, maybe navigation, image-guided surgery, CT, MRT scans, some nerve monitoring, for example, or also intraoperative ECOG monitoring for ear surgery. So there's many things coming up in terms of additional visualization that we can put in there. And before I go ahead too much with the vision, handing back to you, Andres, for explaining the system, and I will be the surgeon basically demonstrating.
Perfect. So thank you. So now we're going to have to demonstrate how is the workflow when you're working in a real case scenario. So usually for microsurgery, as Ferdinand was mentioning, they had already some other devices that were giving the surgeons the opportunity to magnify the image, but most of the issues were that the surgeons will usually have to stand fixed in a certain position without having flexibility and ergonomics during the case. So as you can see here now, we're going to have a lot of space, and Ferdinand can stand very comfortable just wearing an HMD, or what we call a head-mounted display, where he's going to have some eyepieces that are going to allow him to have a very high-quality image of the surgical field. And there's going to be a sensor in that HMD, or that head-mounted display. So just by doing some head gestures, he's going to be able to manipulate everything, just by the touch of a pedal that he's going to be having just underneath.
Going to bring it down.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the procedure. So we're going to go to a more natural position of the robotic arm, and everything is going to be controlled from the head-mounted display. So please,
yeah, bring it down.
He's going to go into surgical mode. And something that I will add is that we have a wide flexibility with this system when we approach to a patient. So you can see the point of having a robotic arm is that we have a lot of flexibility in how we want to position the camera around the patient. So regarding of the setup that the surgeons like to use from the beginning, we can adapt very easily. So we can position the base on the left side of the patient, right side, and that's going to be easy to approach because of the robotic arm that we have. And as you can see here, this is what Ferdinand is going to be looking at on the head-mounted display. The only difference is going to be the quality of the image, plus he's going to have a 3D image of everything he's doing. So he's going to have a much better perspective when he's touching any nerve, any vessel. So there's a variety of applications for this involving different specialties as neurosurgery, plastic surgery, ENT. So the reach of this system is very wide. Now, he's going to do a quick demonstration of the possibilities or what he can do during the case. So we cannot look at it now, but when he presses the pedal, there's a menu popping up on the screen. So he's going to be looking at something like this. It's a concentrical menu. So whenever he goes to any of the functions on the inner ring, he's going to be able to select, for example, free view. So free view is going to give us the possibility to move around to explore the surgical area and surgical field. So he can take a better view of everything, of all the surroundings, structures. And once he finds maybe the definitive structure he wants to focus in, then he can go to another function that is zoom. Maybe he's going to need to have a better perspective or a better zoom level of that structure. And that's going to be very useful because he's not going to rely on anyone else to move any of the functions, anything at all. So it gives full autonomy to the surgeon. And besides the autonomy, he's going to stay in this ergonomic position. It's very comfortable. It's light. It's easy to use. And that's something that I will add. It's very intuitive and very easy to use. So after 20 minutes of playing with it, you're already able to go through many of those functions. And after that, maybe we're going to go through another function that is orbit view. With that function, we're going to be able to manage the perspective where we are looking at from. So for example, maybe you are already working on a cavity, but when we're working on that cavity, we want to look more from the right or left side. So we can use that mode to navigate through the surroundings and we can get the best perspective. And again, everything is fully automatical, controlled by the surgeon. So he has all the autonomy, ergonomy, flexibility, as we can position everything from any side of the OR. And even during the case, if he needed to check his surroundings, there's a function to lift the eyepieces, so he can take a better look about what's his around him. So here we have Ferdinand back with us. Yes, please join us.
Thank you.
There's only something else that I wanted to add is you can even connect up to 2 head-mounted displays, which is very, very good for educational purposes and assistance. So maybe the surgeon is going to have an assistant during his case, but he's going to be on the opposite side of the patient, and there's no problem with that because we can connect another HMD, head-mounted display for him, and we can even adapt the visualization for him. So it's going to be very natural, like he was looking at the surgery from his perspective, which is going to make it so easy for him. So Ferdinand, please let us know if you have anything else to add, if I'm missing something regarding the benefits of the system.
You pulled it off, Andres. Thank you so much. It was fun explaining the system together with you, together with the team. So thanks for watching, thanks for joining in, and hope to see you soon, either today or tomorrow on the booth, or somewhere in the future in the OR. Thanks a lot.
Excellent. Thank you. And please remember to visit us at our booth in Robotic Surgicals, where we are presenting BHS RoboticScope. Yesterday you got the chance to see another of our systems, Versus for CMR, and we have another one, Coding this for Siemens. So please take the chance and come with us. We'll wait for you.